Here we go. Woo!
You have to have a good relationship with failure. You're going to fail a lot and it's going to keep happening. Like, what are you doing to continue your routines and not let it just damage you every single day?
What is it like releasing a player? If you've ever had to do it, if you're looking these guys in the eye and telling them, hey, the dream kind of ends here with us. It's not going to work out. Like, how do you handle that stuff, bro? What's that like?
Yeah, it's the worst part of my job.
Imagine grinding for years in the minors, defying the odds as a 37th round draft pick, finally making to the big leagues, only to step away and start over from the other side as a manager. Our guest today did exactly that. Now, after his first 2 years are done of managing, he's already won back-to-back championships, and he's been named the minor league manager of the year. But what's it really like to be the guy making those tough calls, cutting players, shaping careers, and leading the next generation to the show? Today, we're diving into all that. It is an absolute honor to welcome back longtime friend of the show and the 2024 Minor League Manager of the Year, Zach Vincej. Zach, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, man? I appreciate the nice words. It's always a good time talking to you, man.
Absolutely. Same here, man. I appreciate you making time, dude. We are creeping closer to Valentine's Day. Dude, what is life like for you right now, brother? What are you getting ready for?
Yeah, it's been busy. It's we're just gearing up for spring training right now. We have a mini camp coming up with a lot of our guys. It'll be fun. So just preparing for that, talking with all of our other staff members, trying to get on the same page, making sure that spring training runs super smoothly, and I'm ready to go. I'm itching to get going, so it'll be fun.
I bet, brother. So you went from being Baseball America's minor league manager of the year in 2024 after leading the team to back-to-back Cal League championships. And right now you are getting promoted, right? So you are now the manager in High-A Everett, pretty much a stone's throw away from Seattle, which is amazing, bro. Does it feel like you're almost knocking on the door again? Same kind of way that you went through the grind in your playing career, even though it's in a different role?
Yeah, yeah, in a way. I try not to think about those things though. Like I just want to be the best manager that I can be. The last couple of years I was in Modesto. My whole goal was to try to get the guys better and try to give them, this a platform to show their skills every single day. And put them in the right positions to succeed. So, same thing in Everett. Just trying to be better, trying to be a better leader, build a really good culture, and build this environment where guys just want to get better. And then we'll see what happens, individually for myself. But first things first, let's make sure my staff and my players are dialed in, and we'll go from there.
Yes, that's huge, man. So, right around this time, dude, we've experienced it. We're coming off of a great year. It seems like momentum's at our back. The off season's usually magical after you hit 300, where you make your major league debut, dude. We know what it's like to have a fantastic off season, with the hopes keeping that momentum alive and rolling into the fresh year. Is it the same thing on the coaching side, dude? Obviously, you've had a tremendous first couple of years at the helm, bro. What does it feel like right now being Zach Vincej?
Yeah, it was definitely a good successful year. Absolutely. On the winning part of things, a bunch of our players did really, really well for us. So yeah, going into the off season, there's a lot of good things to look at and to reflect on. But just like any good manager or any good player, it's like, okay, how do I do it again? How do I keep going and keep moving forward? I think the best managers, best leaders, best coaches, they have a short-term memory, and it's like, okay, it's on to the next year. Let's get it rolling. And how can I raise the bar even further? So
Mm.
that was my mindset going into this. Yeah, a lot of cool things going on. But let's try to do it again. Let's try to raise the bar and try to make our guys a little bit closer to the big leagues.
Huge, man. So that's we've touched on like the grinder mindset, that minor league grinder mindset, overcoming adversity, putting the head down, and like sometimes the only way out is through, right? So I mean, the first episode you've been on here, bro, we kind of talked a lot about your career, your experience playing wise, man. Just to refresh everybody, Zach was drafted in the 37th round, right? And that shit doesn't even exist anymore, dude. So going through your grind, you bounced around with some organizations. Obviously, we played over at the Mariners, man, played for the Orioles, drafted by the Reds, played in the show with the Reds, dude. What is something that most people don't understand about being a minor league grinder and having to continuously prove yourself over and over and over again in different systems?
Yeah, it's that question. It has a lot of layers, man.
Yeah.
There's the first couple things that I think of is like, okay, the effort has to be through the roof. You have to have a good relationship with failure. You're
Ooh.
going to fail a lot. And it's going to keep happening. Like, what are you doing to continue your routines and not let it just damage you every single day? And then when you are doing well, how do you sustain it?
Mm.
Those are the main key things that if you can do that consistently from the earliest levels all the way through, you're going to put yourself in a way better spot. And as you know, I mean, you talk a lot about mental skills on here. Man, having a relationship with failure is the number one thing. Like, how do I just keep getting back on that horse and riding again, and just keep putting in the work and knowing that eventually things will work out for you.
Yeah.
So you have to be a grinder mentally, man. You really do.
I love that, dude. You mentioned the mental skills aspect over, with the Mariners, dude. It is a huge facet of the game. Everything that I've learned about about the mental game has come from the Seattle organization, the Seattle system. It's fantastic, dude. When you talk about dealing with failure, having that good relationship with it, I know what some of the concepts and ideas were that the Mariners were teaching their guys when I was a part of it, right? Like embracing your grass, dude, the concept of like 16 for 16, breaking down individual pitches. I love that. What are some of the things that you guys are teaching right now around dealing with failure, having a good relationship with that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like staying in the present. Like, what can you do pitch per pitch?
Okay.
Like you said, the 16 for 16, on average, you're going to see 16 pitches. Like, how many of those pitches in a night can you stay locked in, and not give away pitches? There's so many times where you'll look back on the night and you gave away 10 pitches. You swung at
Easy.
eight in the dirt, or like you're swinging at bad pitches, and then you're going back to your hitting coach like, man, it's got to be my swing, right? And it's like, no, man, like, you're not committed to your plan at that moment. And so that's what we're trying to do, man, is just trying to get them present, trying to get them committed to something. Plan A, that is what you're going, if live or die by your plan. And
Love
if
it.
it doesn't work out, you can go and reevaluate and reflect on it later. But how can we just be as present as we can? And better than anyone, dude, like, that is the hardest thing to do,
Yeah.
to do it
Oh,
for 162 games if you're playing in the big leagues. So,
yeah, getting present, man. That's wild. So there was a Harvard study done that came out that said 47% of every person's day on average is gone through on autopilot. So like people are worried, athletes are worried, thinking about other things that either haven't happened yet or like their attention is away from like what they are doing right now, task at hand, bro.
yeah.
Talk about the importance of routines and how insanely beneficial it is and exponential for growth to be locked in on doing quality, like intentional reps on purpose with purpose, bro. I still can regurgitate almost everything I was taught, from the mental game that the Mariners kind of like implemented and taught
Yeah.
me, dude. It's huge. You guys like meditate maybe as a team? Are you guys doing any type of mindfulness practices, bro? Because there is like success leaves clues, bro. So if you are a back to back like championship minor league manager, the 2024 minor league manager of the year, there's got to be something that you are doing behind the scenes that nobody else even knows about. You know what I mean?
It definitely, I mean, I have to give a lot of my credit to the staff that I had, man. Like, if you don't have success if you don't have a really good staff to lead these players. Um, it's not just me, man. And I think a lot of leaders, they feel like everything is on them, which yeah, it is. You have to take responsibility and accountability for your team and what direction they're going. But if you don't have good staff members that are aligned with where your culture is going to be and what environment you have, it's very hard to have a successful team. So I want to give them all the credit. But back to your question of meditation, like there's so many, man, we have a lot of great mental skills coaches on our staff, just in the organization in general, that we keep up to date with almost daily. There's some great people in our org that direct us and help us, because at the end of the day, we're almost mental skills coaches as well as a leader, as a hitting coach in the minor leagues. Rarely are you talking about tweaking your swing. You're trying to keep them on the runway, man. You're
Yeah,
trying to keep
dude.
them like from falling off a cliff at times. So you're mental skills coaches. So weekly, I talk with a mental skills coach myself of like, how do I become a better leader? How do I guide these players to get where they need to be? How can I tinker with messaging? So there's a lot of just like constant conversations um, in the locker room about that, how we can be better at it. Um, every guy's different. Some guys might meditate because of the skills that they have acquired from our mental skills coaches. Some guys journal. Some guys come in, might have to talk to me for 30 minutes every other day, and we just shoot the shit.
Yeah.
It's every guy's different, and that's the beauty of it. And you have to find that routine from an early stage, and it's been fun to watch players find that routine and roll with it.
Huge, man. It's every guy is different, right? Everybody's going to prepare a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Dude, there's no one size fits all when it comes to the mental game. Obviously, you learn what works, and then maybe if something works better than something else, dude, you double down on it. Obviously, it's trial and error, bro. You learn that stuff as you keep going. It's important, bro. I love how the mental game is kind of becoming more of a factor, especially younger, man. Like it's always been there, dude. It's just these guys are starting to become a little bit more conscious of it now, right? And I think maybe if kids, younger players, younger kids that are aspiring to one day like be in the position to play for a manager like you, bro, if they the younger that they can start wrapping their heads around that stuff, maybe they'll have a chance to be a 37th round underdog that makes it to the big leagues, or a 14th round dude that can just run that make it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's the kind of message I'm trying to preach, bro. So it's huge. I always want to hit on that stuff, dude, especially every time you come back on, man. It's
Yeah.
paramount.
I love it. It's like probably 80% of my job,
It's wild.
is yeah, feeling the heartbeat of the team, see where they are, mentally wise. Are they down? Are they up? It's how do we just stay here and just keep it cruising?
So,
So
so
it's crazy.
just being in this managerial role now, man. Like fans and people that pay attention, like watch, track all this stuff. They just see stuff from the outside, whether it's on an iPad screen, computer, or they are in seats, man. They just see kind of like the finished product, dude. Is that something, in your opinion, just kind of like the mental aspect of stuff, the emotional aspect of stuff? You almost being like a, not a guidance counselor as well as a manager, but like being that emotional support aspect, dude. You think that's the biggest piece that fans don't see or realize about
One,
minor league baseball?
yeah, 100%. They just see the X's and the O's, and like the box score, like who goes 3 for 4, and who's having pitching 6 innings shutty, the amount of punchies that pitcher gets, that's what they're looking
Yeah,
at.
dude.
But they don't see the work that we put in from noon and on, the preparation in the weight room, the preparation with recovery, what the guys did the night before. Are they getting a good amount of sleep? um, and then all of our messages throughout the day, our prep on the field, our BP, our cage routine, our video analysis that we look over of what we've done really well the night before, or things that we can get better at. There's just so many different things that lead up to 7 o'clock. um, and and that's the fun part for me. That is like, yeah, it could be a little bit of a grind at times where it's like it's they're long days, but that's where like at 7 o'clock I get to put my feet up, watch the guys compete, and get after it, and
Mm,
seeing how much work they put in for 7 o'clock and see what happens. That's the best part for me. Uh,
dude, that's that's huge. Obviously, like the performance on the field is
yeah.
what dictates, wins and losses and stuff. But I want to kind of rephrase that in a little bit more of a risque manner. So, like, you've had success over these past 2 seasons, and you're talking about focusing on dominating and winning and being your best self between noon and 7 in
Mhm.
hopes that the players just take over and let shit happen from 7 p.m. on. Is that kind of like what I'm hearing?
Yeah, yeah, in a way, and of
Huge.
course, like, as a manager, I'm gonna have to make managerial moves,
For
with
sure.
the bullpen and all that, but, yeah, that's at the end of the day, when we get to 7 o'clock and you think of it, I always put it in, like, golf terms, right? Like, we are just the caddy to the players. That's it. Like, if you hear, like, Jordan Spieth, like, playing, he's never asking his caddy about his swing in the middle of his approach shot.
Yeah.
He's never talking about, "Man, are my hands, like, getting in here?" No. Their caddy is basically there to lead them to have a direct goal, what their sights are, and stick to their plan. That is it. And so for me, for my hitting coach, for my pitching coach, for our bench coach, that is our job, is like, let them play, but just guide them and just direct them when they start derailing and start talking about, oh man, my hands here, like it has to be my hand. No, 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 no. Just get back to your plan, get back to your approach, let things happen naturally. So that's what we've kind of talked about, is just being a caddy for the players instead of just like a swing coach or a, technical coach during, you can't perform at that level,
For
you
sure.
know.
For sure. I love that analogy, man. I've never heard that, and it's not going to be the last time that that is used in a conversation with myself, bro. I'm definitely going to steal that if you don't mind.
Please
That's the
do.
best way that I've heard it kind of described, bro. It makes a ton of sense now, kind of looking back on it. I love the caddy aspect of it, bro. That's a really cool way of kind of explaining that. It's weird how like the relationship as a college coach, the relationship you have with your college manager, your college coach, and then you get into pro ball and you're around these guys like every day for
Mhm.
a long amount of time, how that relationship switches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's nuts, man. So like obviously you are now going to be in high A. You're one step closer to the big leagues, dude. I know you're not getting caught up in that stuff yet, man. Like next pitch, this season, all that stuff. I get it. But the reality of the situation is, dude, you are one step closer to the big leagues, man. How does that competition change from A ball to high A, dude? What are like the differences that you see, man, and what do you see in guys at that level that make you think like, damn, he's going to be a big leaguer.
Yeah. Um, just a little more polished, you know. They're the consistency is there. You could just tell, and just the way they move around, like sometimes you can see it in rookie ball and low A. You'll have some younger guys that are just running around, like, just have no idea what's going on, kind of thing.
Been
And
there.
you start getting closer to the big leagues. You start getting closer to Double A, Triple A. Obviously, the show, you can just kind of see it. It's like, oh, these guys are like in cruise control. It looks like they're almost taking a nap, but they're just on, like, just nice and easy,
It's
like,
effortless almost.
effortless. Yeah. Um, so I think that is polished a little more. And I mean, everything's just sharper. Everyone, the pitcher's a little bit better, dominating the zone. Hitters are starting to become more like attached to their plans, and you can
Okay.
tell, like, okay, that they're ready to roll, like, this at bat. Yeah, it's just a little more polished, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a ton of sense, man. That jump from A ball to high A wasn't necessarily, in my opinion, the biggest like age talent gap. Obviously, like getting to double A, in my opinion, was a code that I could not crack. Then to triple A was like, whoa, dude, it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
But like high A is where you start seeing dudes where it's like, okay, that guy should be a big leaguer here in a little bit, in my opinion. It's gonna be awesome to see kind of like the success that you are hopefully going to continue having, bro, in this new team. Everett's an awesome spot, dude. So the good stuff we've covered, obviously, as the manager. But with that comes big time conversations, big time decisions, and sometimes like they're not the best stuff to have, right? We're talking about releasing a player, maybe demoting a player, the stuff that we don't want to experience or see, bro. What is it like releasing a player? If you've ever had to do it, like if you're looking these guys in the eye and telling them, hey, the dream kind of ends here with us. It's not going to work out. Like, how do you handle that stuff, bro? What's that like?
Yeah, it's the worst part of my job. I think the best way to do it is just, get it over with, super transparent from the start. Um, and just tell them, hey, like the effort and everything that you've been doing was there. Um, but this and this and this is the reason why we can't keep you, kind of thing. So I think just being as honest, transparent, don't beat around the bush, just straight to it, man. That's that. Yeah, it's the toughest part of this gig, and it's a business at the end of the day. And I think a lot of players don't understand that early on, but now you start getting into high A, double A, triple A, you start seeing the business aspects of releases and trades and a lot of different things. We had a couple guys that got traded last year. It was really their first experience of like, whoa, this could happen. Like I can go and play for another team across the country tomorrow just because of just different business aspects of
They
it.
were in A ball and they got traded.
And Abel, yeah, low A, man, low A. Yeah, it
Damn,
was
dude.
we had one of our pitchers and one of our outfielders get traded to the Rays. Um,
Did they just call you like immediately, or is there like a convenient time that they they wait before BP? Like,
yeah,
what's that like?
yeah. So they actually gave me a call before the game started and was like, "Hey, this might happen. Just have
Okay.
your phone on you during the game." Um, and so during that time, it's just like you're just checking your phone because once that happens, it's like, okay, we gotta pull him from the lineup and making sure he's healthy and whatnot. But yeah, it's and it was a good learning experience for our team because none of them really have dealt with that. And then
Yeah.
we addressed it the next day and was like, "Hey, you're not only playing for the Mariners here, you're playing for 29 other teams
Mm.
daily." And that's a
Oof.
real thing. There's scouts in the stands every single game and they're
Yeah.
watching you. So how do you want to be viewed, you
It's
know?
crazy, dude. I
So,
didn't experience a trade until I got to Double A, like 2015. My buddy Jack Reinheimer and I think like Gabby Guerrero got
yeah.
traded, maybe to the Diamondbacks. I think that was, bro. It was crazy. I was like, whoa, this could happen at any time. Low A, that's that's nuts. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that
Yeah.
happens quick, bro. So the business side of stuff is obviously it's prevalent in baseball. The higher you go, the quicker you get there. You learn that shit fast, man. So with players that need to get released or like players that are counted out, obviously there is a ton of uphill battles to climb. You know what I mean, dude? You kind of get that reputation early. It's a player that isn't capable of. It might be tough to break out of that mold, dude. Is there a player that you've managed or that you've been around, you've coached that was counted out that had this like outlier dark horse label placed on them where it's like, bro, these guys aren't going to amount to anything. They might be like a backup utility infielder, whatever the case. They were on the brink of being released and they ended up turning it around. Like, what did they do different?
Yeah. Yeah, there's one player that comes to mind. I won't put his name out there, but he yeah, he had a really great start to his career in rookie ball. Really established, dominating the zone, was able to stay really disciplined. Had a really good approach. Like his approach was opposite field, on a line. Like to do that at a high level at such a young age is like, ooh, this guy. If we just teach this guy to get the head out every once in a while, we're talking, we're looking up here. Um, had a couple rough seasons, kind of got away from his approach a little bit, and he's on that brink where it's like, okay, we don't know if it's going to happen, but it could happen here. So I think for us as a staff, it's all right, what can we do to just get him a little bit better and to try to get him motivated to start playing at a high level again. He wasn't
Mm,
really playing a lot. Um, and I think it's so important as a leader is like to show those guys how important they really are still, even if they are playing a couple days a week.
nah,
Keep them motivated, making sure
huge.
that they're still doing what they need to do. Because you never know if they can turn it around, to your point. You never know if they're able to, something clicks for them. They might hear a certain message where it's like, oh, that's what it feels like. And then they start running with it, you know? A couple times that's happened to me in my career. You know, I felt like I couldn't get a hit at times, and then I
Yeah,
made
yeah.
a little slight adjustment with whether it was my approach or something, and that helped me get to the big leagues. You know, and so I always try to think of that in the back of my mind with our guys. Like, still give the attention to those guys just as much as your guys that are playing 6 times a week, prospect guys,
Yeah,
because you don't know, you don't know. So yeah,
makes
it
sense.
was a really cool story, and he's really come a long way. And I'm super proud of him, and hopefully he can continue that trend.
Fires me up to hear stuff like that, bro.
Yeah,
What definitely wanted to ask, man. Obviously, here at the Nine Hole, dude, we highlight the underdogs, bro. Love hearing the underdog stories. Again, we are here with the 2024 Minor League Manager of the Year, Zach Vincej. Zach, we appreciate your time. We got two more questions for you right here in closing, bro. If you could kind of look back on everything and give yourself advice as a 37th round draft pick who was just starting out, what you know right now, what you've experienced, dude, what would you say to that 37th round Zach Vinci?
yeah. I think I think just enjoying it, you know, like you talked about earlier, like embracing your grass a little bit. Like, there would be times early on in my career where I was like, man, I have to do well so I move up. I have to do this. I have to do that. It's like, instead of like being almost grateful in a way, like, I didn't realize that until I was like in double A or triple A, where I was like grateful to even put on a uniform and play professional baseball at a high level. And then I started noticing when I was grateful and I was focusing on my teammates and wanting to win, um, things started to work out for myself individually. Um, and I was like, huh, that's interesting here. Like, if the more present I am, thankful, if I'm being a good teammate, it just seemed like things were starting to work out for myself individually. And so I
Hmm.
wish I was doing that a little more on the front end in the rookie ball and low A and high A. I mean, granted, there's times, where I was, but at the same time, it was like, man, I could have maybe put a little more emphasis on that. And I think just enjoy it, man. Enjoy the ride. You can get released and traded, and your career can end like that. I'm super fortunate that I was able to play the amount of years that I did, but just enjoy it and put in the work and fall in love with the process, man. Fall in love
Hmm.
with the grind. Uh,
Dude, that's
that,
that's probably one of the cooler answers I've heard, in my opinion, because I just obviously, as the college baseball season is just about to starts right before spring training. Actually, could be a little off right there. I think everybody starts on like Valentine's Day. I'm not sure when spring training starts. But dude, I've put a huge emphasis on the college head coaches, right? The Division 1 guys, especially. We just had Tony Vitello on here from College World Series,
that,
Tennessee Vols. Man, they're nasty. We just had Chris Pollard on here from Duke, top 25 program, nasty as well, bro. And they talk about putting other people first, right? So, like Chris Pollard, the theme of his team is servant leadership, and he said like that's what he preaches. And for whatever reason, it doesn't make sense, right? To me, an outsider looking in, it's like you put other people first and you start playing better. It's crazy to me. right? But these dominant programs and these top tier leaders are starting to do it. And now Tony V was just talking about, hey, the best baseball players I've ever been around, I've coached, I've heard about, I've seen, they're even better people, like helping out others and putting themselves first. It doesn't make sense, right? I can't wrap my head around it, especially when we're young. And then we get to double A, like you were talking about, you start becoming grateful and you're like, oh shit. There's a direct correlation between being having character, right? And then maybe what I'm able to do, in my opinion, right? I think there's a good correlation there, bro. It's funny that the leaders in college baseball are saying the same things that you are, bro. I think maybe there is something there. Hopefully everybody is paying attention. I think that's huge.
Yeah, and that's the biggest challenge for myself too. Because like, of course, everyone has their own dreams, their own story that they're trying to write. They're trying to make it to the big leagues, but you're trying to paint that picture of like servant leadership, like what you're talking about, and what the benefits are of that, and how it can help you individually. That's the tricky part, and trying to get everyone on board with that. But that's the fun part of being a manager and a leader, is like trying to create that culture of, yeah, we're doing everything for each other, and
Yeah.
we'll figure it out from there. The wins and losses and your individual accolades will come from there.
Beauty, man. So we've talked. This has been awesome, dude. We've talked about obviously the mental game, dude. Talked about leadership, what that can do for you, what that looks like, especially over the course of a season, what that might look like in the win column. Man, you've been part of winning seasons as a player, as a manager. Last question I got for you, brother. What is the biggest lesson from your journey so far that you'd pass down to every young player that's trying to make it?
Yeah. Man, I think the relationships with your teammates, the relationships, if you're, a leader or a manager, coach, with your players, is everything, I think. And so when you're trying to help each other, I know we just kind of touched on it, but man, like that was the biggest lesson, I think, is like, how do I help my teammate? How do I serve my teammate? And how do I just do what I need to do on a daily basis to help my team? And all of a sudden, like, the individual stuff will come. Obviously there's all the other things that go along with that, with your own personal goals and the realities of behind it, of like trying to make it to the big leagues as a player. But man, I think just like really building off the relationship part of things, I felt like I had more. I don't know, just I was just, like I said before, just so grateful that I was able to even play, because I was focused on other people. And so I tried to do that from as a player early on. I wish I did it earlier, but now as a manager, as a leader, I think that's the biggest lesson. What type of relationships are you building on a daily basis, and what the effects can be on from those relationships. So
Love that.
yeah,
Love that. That's huge, brother. I'm ridiculously grateful for the time, dude. Thank you for letting me run you through the gauntlet of questions again. And bro, obviously we are looking forward to seeing a huge 2025, bro. Would be absolutely insane if you were to go back to back to back, obviously in a new league, wearing a new uniform representing the Seattle Mariners, bro. But appreciate you, Zach, man. Really grateful for the
no,
time, homie.
appreciate you. It's been awesome to see your success as well. You're the man. You're doing a lot of great things for the game. So I couldn't be more thankful for you and what you're doing. So it's been awesome. Every single episode I've been tuning into, you've had some awesome guests I've been learning from. So it's been great. So
Thank you,
thanks
bro.
again, dude.
It's huge, man. Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Baseball is not just about talent, it's about the grind, it's about the mindset, it's about the people who shape the journey. Zach Vincej has lived it from both sides, player, manager, and his story proves that success isn't just about making it, it's about what you do once you're there. Keep showing up, keep competing, and most importantly, keep grinding. We'll catch everybody here next time. Thank you guys.